All right, folks, we are here at Sam Rayburn kicking off the FLW Tour. This event presented by Polaris. I've got Andy Young with me.
How you doing, bud?
Oh man, Andy, it's good to have you back.
Man, it's good to be back.
That's for sure.
I'm excited to be here, man.
Well, Rayburn, as most folks know, really flooded. Give me just kind of the lay of the land. Like, what does it look like out there?
Well, it's definitely flooded. I mean, there's water about 50, 100 yards up into the trees in some places. Gosh, you know, I came down here in October, and the water was 3 feet low. So I got to see what it looks like with all the stumps out there and everything. And yeah, you know, I was really scared to run around in October when it was low. And then I came again right before cutoff in December. And
you're putting your time in. I like this.
You know, and well, I ain't got nothing better to do. But no, the water was high, like 3 feet high. So I got to run around, and now it's 3 feet higher than that, or 4 feet higher than that. So it's just an endless maze out there as far as water back in the bushes. But you know, someone's gonna catch them. It's gonna be fun anyways.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, are you kind of dedicating yourself to figuring that you can figure something out in this flooded cover? Because historically on Rayburn in December or January, like, that's an offshore rattle trap kind of deal.
Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna keep an open mind, and I've got some spots where I caught them in December deep, and if I can catch them on those spots, it'd be great. But I'm definitely gonna do a lot of shallow water, pound a lot of shallow water. I mean, I'm gonna be, you know, flipping bushes and frogging back behind the trees and whatever it takes, I guess.
All right. You said frogging. How warm is this water? Like, what are we looking at?
I saw 56, 57 today.
Oh, really?
So I mean, I didn't get any bites on a frog, but I gotta imagine that you could probably get some on it. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah. It looks like too we're gonna have fairly stable weather. I mean, it's not gonna maybe be quite as warm as this the rest of the way, but it looks like it's gonna be pretty mild considering it's January.
I'm fine with that. As long as it doesn't blow real hard, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Because this lake gets nasty when it blows.
Oh, it really does. It's a big lake.
No doubt. That stable weather is definitely going to do nothing but help, I think.
Okay.
And hopefully, maybe some fish will push to the bank and the water warm up a little more, and who knows?
Yeah, good things could happen. How do you think you're going to divide the rest of your practice? Is it going to be 50-50, poking around deeper stuff and fishing shallow, or are you going to do you feel like you really just should hone in on the shallow stuff?
I think I'm going to hone in on the shallow stuff more so. I will do a little bit of deep water stuff, but I'm going to hone in and try to find a couple of bays that have a good concentration of fish in it.
Yeah.
It seems like if you get around them, you can get bit, you know?
Okay.
And it seems like you can hit 5 different coves and one of them will have fish in it. So,
all right,
you know,
I like
that's kind of what I've been finding out today anyways.
Cool. Well, Andy, good luck the rest of the way. You got 2 more days to break this thing down, and you know, the whole thing starts up Thursday. It's going to be a blast.
Yep, I'm excited. Can't wait to get out there.
All right, good luck, man.
Take it easy.
All righty, next man up, FLW Tour rookie, Myles Sonar Burghoff. Sonar, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how most people know me as Sonar.
All right, that's what we're doing. Was Sonar of very great use to you out there on Rayburn today? Because there's a lot to see, but a lot of it's real shallow. Well, not shallow, but hard to idle.
It was very useful for showing me exactly where the old grass used to be, or, you know, where you would normally fish, you know, this time of year. Actually, you know, I got a great setup with all different types of electronics, and actually 3 brands this year I'm running.
Okay, that's baller. I like that.
Yeah. So I put them to use today, and with the high water though, I really, like, my gut just makes me want to go right into the bushes.
It looks too good.
It looks too good.
Yeah. Did you, I guess, I'll just go straight out. Did you catch fish in the bushes? Like, do you feel like they're there to be caught and you just need to find them? Or is it a matter of they're there, but there aren't enough of them and you would really have to stumble on something?
The problem with water that is this high, this is some of the, for shallow water fishermen, it hurts for me to say this, but there's too many bushes in the water, and it's
incredible.
There's way too much cover in the water, and if you get in an area that is, you know, generally shallow and long tapering to begin with, man, those fish spread out and you just can't get to them. You know, I don't care what kind of boat you've got, you can't get to a lot of these areas. And so personally, I'm gonna try to mix it up and see if I can find something else for the next 2 practice days, because it's a little bit hard to pinpoint fish, and that's what you want to do in a tournament setting is you know, essentially just you know, eliminate water and make sure that you're in high percentage areas.
You want to drive right to them on Derby day.
Yeah, and that's hard to do in high water.
Yeah. Have you been to Rayburn before to have like a backlog of offshore or winter places you could look, or do you have to now, if you want to fish offshore, do you have to just find stuff?
I have to go find it, and you know, it's good and bad. I've never been to Rayburn before, so I have no experience here. You know, I have really good maps. I work with Navionics, and so I can find offshore stuff. Yeah. Pretty darn quick, you know, just as quick as just about anybody. But I'm not much of an offshore guy. Like, I try to make a lake kind of fit my strengths. And even with the water really, really high and hard to access those shallow water fish, I'm still trying to figure that out and find that. But the high water is really playing to me never being here before, because you know, nobody's really that I know has seen it this high.
Even Dickie Newberry has probably never seen it this high in January, and he's seen like everything on Rayburn. You know?
Yeah. So it really does.
Fellow rookie, by the way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So he'll probably, from what I understand of that man, he'll probably figure it out regardless.
Yeah.
But it's a situation where it really does even the playing field, which I like.
I like that. We are down here right by the dam, right by takeoff, and the water is, I won't say clear, but it's not bad looking. Like, you've got maybe a couple feet of visibility in some areas. How much of the lake did you see, and like, what are the variations? Are there parts of the lake where you ran into and said, I'm just not going to try it?
No, it was actually surprisingly acceptable throughout the lake. I didn't go all the way up any of the arms. Like, I got pretty far up, and it got dirty, but it was, you know, you'd throw a chatterbait in there and you could see it, you know, a foot down, and it's that's perfect.
It's fishy looking water.
It's fishy. It's not too muddy for this time of year. So really, from what I understand, Rayburn, it spreads out pretty good, and I think it's going to spread out here. The problem is this high water and finding those areas where, again, you can go straight to them. So the water clarity really isn't that big of a deal. But that being said, even though I like dirty water, I might kind of focus on clearer water, because the strike zone is a little bit wider, and I can kind of pull those fish away from something, you know, hopefully. That's the hope.
That's the theory.
Yeah, that's the theory.
Okay. Well, you're a pro now, so you can have those theories, and it becomes expertise, I believe. My last question, you've got 3 brands of electronics on your boat, so you probably have 3 different readings. But what is the water temperature out there, just from a, you know, it's January, but I'm wearing flip-flops right now.
Yeah. So it was actually, they were all pretty consistent. It was 51 in the morning, 51 and a half-ish, and then it got up to 55 and a half, which is, you know, slightly cooler than I thought it would be, but it's right where it should be. I mean, I was just hoping that it was going to be a little bit warmer. Yeah,
because if it was in the 40s or something, that's probably bad news for your flipping bite, I would say.
But then again, with the high water, I kind of like how it's a little bit colder, because it may keep them on the edge a little bit more, rather than way back where I can't access them, you know.
Okay, John Cox can.
Yeah, right. I saw him today. I actually heard a boat way back in some bushes, and I said, I bet that's John Cox.
And
lo and behold, he comes out, and I was just like, nailed it.
That's wonderful. All right, well, Sonar, sorry.
Yeah, that's all good.
I'm going to get this, don't worry.
Either one works. That's the beauty.
Well, you got 2 more days. Good luck out there.
Thanks, man.
By.
Appreciate it.
Well, we're not done taking all the boats out, because there's some limited dock space right now.
Right, with all the high water, it's definitely made launching and picking up your boat real challenging.
That's for sure. And in case you didn't know, this is James Niggemeyer.
Hey.
James, you obviously have fished Rayburn plenty of times before. You're from California, been in Texas for a while. Have you ever fished Rayburn like this?
No, no, I've never fished it like this. I've read articles about it being up this high and into the pine trees like it is now.
Yep.
and then I've never fished it this time of year.
Okay.
So the combination.
This time of year ever, or this time of year high?
I want to say that I don't think I've ever been here this early in January.
All right, that's
maybe
fair.
late January, February.
That's really the more historic rattle trap
Right,
kind of time.
right. So that's different, but yeah, seeing it high and this early in the year, it's new to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your kind of game plan going into this? Because, like, we should be, if the water was normal, we should be thinking probably lipless and offshore, right? But it's not normal.
Yeah, it's not normal, but I still think those things will both play.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to change much. It'll just be different in the way that we're going to be able to apply the same techniques and different things like that. And there'll be some other things that I think maybe aren't traditionally heard of or guys don't typically do here, but I think some guys are going to just catch them a bunch of different ways. I really do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last year you caught them really good at Cumberland. The water was pretty high. You were throwing a spinnerbait a lot, I think. It looked like a lot of fun. What's your vibe on that maybe happening?
Oh, I definitely think a spinnerbait. I caught one on a spinnerbait today.
Was it a 10-pounder?
No,
you don't
it was
have
not.
to say.
No, it was a little guy. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's going to play. It's just going to be a matter of sifting through the miles upon miles of hundreds of miles of water that's completely flooded. Some of the bank you can't get to. You can just look through the woods and the water just keeps going. Yep. So there's so many places for the fish to be right now. It's just that's gonna be the big key, is just, you know, sifting through it all.
Okay. What's your sort of tentative plan the next several days? You've got 2 more. Are you kind of thinking, well, I'm gonna sift through this shallow cover, or are you thinking I should try to sift through some of the offshore stuff, or at least look at some of those historic places?
You know, I'm gonna stay shallow. They always bite shallow here on Rayburn and in Toledo Bend. Both these lakes, they both have a good shallow bite.
Just year round.
Year round shallow bite. I think that's where I'm going to go. I think it's going to get one out.
All right.
I think that's where that 30-plus pound bag is going to come from.
Todd Castledines, those kind of guys.
You know, Dickie Newberry, those guys. A lot of the guys that have a lot of history here. I've only fished here during tournaments or times when I've come down for a tournament. I've never really come down a whole lot for fishing for fun. So,
well, you're right near Lake Fork, which is pretty good.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to drive anywhere else, and there's a lot of lakes around Lake Fork too that really make it hard to make a 3-hour drive to go somewhere else. But yeah, it's definitely different, and who knows? It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned a 30-pound bag. Do you think we actually can see a 30-pound bag this week? And, like, considering the conditions, and, like, what do you feel like what's it going to take to do well?
What do I think it's going to take to do well? I think the guy, to do well, when you say to do well, I mean top 30 or top 60?
Give me top 30. I want to fishing on the weekend.
Golly, I really don't know. I would say high teens a day will probably get you in the top 30.
Okay,
that's kind of what I would think.
I feel like that's kind of bullish. I'm a fan of that. That's good.
You like that? Okay. Only reason I say that, not because I actually saw that today, but just because they're in here. I mean, that's why a 30-pound bag is going to happen, because they live here, and
you can catch an 8-pounder.
You can catch 2 8-pounders, and then have 3 5s to go with it. Yep. So yeah, it's definitely going to happen, I think. But if it doesn't happen, it'll be because of the extreme high water.
Yeah. Now that's going to be an easy thing to, blame if the lake doesn't show off like it has in the past, or just if things get really weird. Well, look at the conditions. But it's also one of those situations where you could see something you've never seen before.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of fun.
Yeah, that is neat. When you come to a lake like this, I think a lot of guys coming into this event, they were thinking, well, a lot of the local guys, a lot of the guys with a lot of history on that lake, they're going to show out. But I really think with the conditions the way they are, I think some guys that have never been here before could show out. So it's definitely a different Rayburn. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out, but I definitely think they're going to catch them.
All right. Well, James, thanks for stopping by. Yeah. Here's hoping you're one of the ones catching them.
Thank you.